Hi, hello everyone. Good morning. This is Dr. Brahmayya, Associate Professor, Department of S&H, MLR Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. Today I am going to talk about the corrosion. So the worry is, what is corrosion? And examples of the corrosion is nothing but rusting. So we have to talk about what is corrosion and examples of the corrosion. Of course, it is a rusting. Corrosion definition. So corrosion is defined as a destruction of metals due to the chemicals or electrochemical attack of the metal surface with the surrounding environment. This is the definition. It is defined as the destruction of the metal surface by the electrochemical attack or any surrounding chemicals. That is called corrosion or rusting. For example, rusting of the iron. Iron will be reacted with the oxygen and the moisture. It will become like Fe2O3 compound. So this is a compound like this. It is formed Fe2O3 and moisture content. This is the rusting form of the iron. And the tarnishing of the silver. Silver will react with H2S, hydrogen sulfide. It will form silver sulfide and H2. By releasing the H2 gas, it will be form silver sulfide. And bluish green tinged by copper. Copper will react with oxygen and then it will form Cu2O compound. So if you see the iron is rusting. This is a very fresh iron which is not distracted by any surroundings. Initially it is like this, and later on in the environment, when it is interacting with the environment, it will be formed like this because of this compound. And tarnishing of the silver. So initially when we buy the silver spoon, after some time it is become like this destruction of the spoon. By interacting with the water, by interacting with the moisture, by interacting with the air, the spoon will become like this. This is called as tarnishing of the silver. And then bluish green tinged by copper. So this is the actually Statue of Liberty. Initially it is like this, now it is becoming like this because of the 2C copper reacts with oxygen, it will form Cu2O. This is the way the rusting will be formed. So factors affecting the corrosion. Factors affecting the corrosion. We have to think about the factors affecting the corrosion. Exposure of the metals to air containing gases like CO2, SO2, SO3, etc. For example, if you see, the CO2 will react with water, it will form H2CO3, carbonic acid. This is the carbonic acid which reduces the pH below 5 to 3. So this will causes the rusting of the iron or any metal surface. Because of the CO2 also, we are going to get a rusting. And SO2, because of the SO2, it will form H2SO3 with the water. SO2 will react with H2O, it will become like H2SO3. On further oxidation, it will form H2SO4, very corrosive compound. So it is generally very strong acid in the inorganic chemicals. So this forms corrosion. In exposure of the metals to moisture, especially salt water, which increases the rate of the corrosion. Because of the chlorine, NaCl plus Cl minus. So this chlorine will react with silver and AgCl it will form generally. So this is also causing the rusting. Presence of the impurities like salt, easy, NaCl, of course we spoken just now. Temperature, an increase in the temperature increases the corrosion. Why it is forming the corrosion in the temperature conditions if it is high? Why it is helping to the corrosion forming? Because it's very easy to react with oxygen or moisture by using the temperature. The electrons will be easily excited, so that the reactions will be happen very fastly. So that temperature is also one of the factor. Nature of the first layer of the oxide formed. Some oxides like Al2O3 forms an insoluble protecting layer which can prevent the further corrosion. Others like rust easily crumble and expose the rest of the metal. So some metals will be always tries to protect the rest of the layers of the metal, like by forming the protecting layer. For example, aluminum will form the Al2O3 protecting layer, so that the further rusting or further corrosion will be stopped due to the protecting layer. Some metals are having this kind of nature. And presence of the acid in the atmosphere. Acids can easily accelerate the process of the corrosion. Presence of the acid in the atmosphere. Acids can easily accelerate the process of the corrosion. Why? Because acids will act as a electrolytes, electrolytic material or substance, so that electrochemical reactions will be happening very fastly, so that the corrosion will be formed very easily. Effects of corrosion. So life of the equipment and machinery gets reduced. So what are the effects of the corrosion? Because by forming the corrosion, the metal rods or plates will be, their lifespan will be reduced because of this rusting on their surfaces. So necessity for the replacing the corroded equipment. So then when the equipments are spoiled by this corrosion, we have to replace the new items. So that is a problem of the corrosion. Probability of the plant shutdown due to the machine failures. Generally, machines also will be failure due to the corrosion formation of the metal surfaces and boilers. Damage of the buildings and other historic monuments. So some other historic monuments, like for example, due to the acid formation in the moisture in the air environment. For example, Taj Mahal is it's a historical constructed monument. So it is also losing its surface, is getting some kind of acid concentrations are increasing in the environment. So it is affecting the surface of the Taj Mahal or some monuments, historical monuments like Charminar in Hyderabad, Taj Mahal in Agra. These are becoming also affecting by these kind of corrosive materials. Loss of valuable metallic properties such as conductivity, ductility and malleability. So loss of valuable metallic properties. Always we will find some properties like conductivity and ductility and malleability. So what are these things? Generally, metals will be flexible whenever we need to make them in certain shapes, sizes. So that kind of nature will be also lost by this corrosion. So that kind of properties will be lost, and conductivity also losses. Conductivity, we know the flow of electrons or flow of current. So it will be lost due to the corrosion. Contamination of the drinking water. Of course, these corrosion forming substances, the compounds which are like Fe2O3, for example, initially we spoken just now, that Fe2O3, it will be mixed with the water. So if you drink that water, though, that complex will be getting into your body, so which is not good for our health. So like that, these corroding substances, the corrosion formed substances will be mixed with the water, which is not good for our health. Leakage of the inflammable gas from the corroded pipe or instrument can be cause fire hazardous. So these are also the problems. Leakage of the inflammable gases. Based on the interaction of the metal with environment, the corrosion is classified into two types. So one is dry or chemical corrosion, or wet electrochemical corrosions. So these are the two different classifications. So dry corrosion and wet corrosion. So dry corrosion occurs in dry conditions. This wet corrosion occurs in the wet conditions in the presence of the moisture and electrolyte, and it involves the dry corrosion. It involves the chemical attack of the oxygen or other gases. It's a dry corrosion. It involves the electrochemical attack of the corrosion environment on the surface of the metal. And corrosion is uniform in the dry corrosion, and corrosion is non-uniform in the wet corrosion. Corrosion product accumulate at the site of the attack and accumulate between the area of the anode and cathode. It is a slow process, dry corrosion, and it is a fast process, wet corrosion. So these are the major differences of the dry corrosion and wet corrosion. Dry corrosion. This type of corrosion occurs due to the chemical reaction between the metal and atmosphere gases like CO2, O2, H2S, halogens, and SO2, etc. that attack the metal surface very easily. As we initially said, it is forming H2CO3 and H2S will form iron sulfide, and halogens will form AgCl, Ag2, yes, this kind of compounds. SO2 will form, we will about H2SO3 and H2SO4 compounds. These are the electrolytes. Dry corrosion is due to oxygen oxidation corrosion and other gases, liquid metals. So dry corrosion is due to the oxygen and oxidation corrosion and other gases and liquid metals. Summary. The presentation covers the topics like corrosion, factors affecting the corrosion, dry and wet corrosion, how they will be formed on metal surface by the interaction of the environment. So this is the summary of this topic. Thank you.